Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 54 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I'm the host and producer of the On Air Advocate, and I am super excited that you are here joining us this evening on the live, or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, as you always know, if you hear this and you know that the content we're talking about could be relevant for anybody, please hit the share button. If you've been following us for about the last week or so, actually it's almost 2 weeks now, we have had a hard focus on the lack of youth and adult changing tables in the United States. And so with that said, I am so excited tonight to have here with us not one, but two amazing ladies. Paula Connelly and her 16-year-old daughter, Nikiah. Hi, you guys. Hi. Paula is not only a caregiver, an advocate, but she is definitely a mother on a mission for her daughter, Nikiah, so that we can get these changing tables in all different places, from over the interstate to in malls and zoos, amusement parks, and all of that. So I am so excited you guys are here with me this evening, and I would love for you, Paula, to just share a little bit about the beginning of your story, a little bit about you, a little bit about Nikiah, and how this has all begun for you guys on this journey.
Okay. All right. Well, like Tammy said, my name is Paula Connelly, and this is my 16-year-old daughter, Nikiah. Nikiah is a twin, and she was actually born with cerebral palsy. She basically, she's cognitive age level 16, but she can't walk. And right now she weighs probably about 95 pounds. And so this basically led to my mom on a mission as far as adult size changing tables. Because, Nikiah, of course, she can't walk, so therefore she can't go and put herself on the toilet. So
right.
This has basically been a struggle for us. We're a very active family, and we're out and about a lot. We travel to Florida to visit family a lot. And the last visit, we went to Florida, about a year ago, went to Florida, and coming back from Florida, Nikiah had an accident in her pull-up. And again, like I say, this was no ordinary accident. This was something that, we definitely didn't want her to sit on for 2 or 3 hours traveling from Florida to our home here in Georgia. So we pulled over to a local hotel. Okay. And went into the hotel asking the front desk, could we basically use a room that someone had recently checked out of, to use the bed to change our child. They told us no. Then we asked, can we get a blanket, a sheet, or, anything that we can actually, just lay her here on the floor somewhere and change her. And of course we were told no. We basically had to get a room in order to change her. So we left there feeling a little upset. And so, my husband and I got back on the interstate, and we thought, okay, well, let's just try like an urgent care. So we pulled into an urgent care, got Nikiah out of the van, and went into the urgent care and explained the situation to the young lady at the front desk. And they told us the only way we can go to the back to a bed is if we saw a doctor. And of course, Nikiah wasn't sick, so we didn't need to see a doctor. Right. And so, once again, we were upset, and we left there and, got back in the van. But I was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and just change it here in the van, which is something that we definitely didn't want to do. But it was the last resort to get her changed and fresh so we can get back on the road to get home. So, so we had to have her, we had to pull her out of the van, take her out of the chair, again, weighing 90 pounds. Thank God my husband was there with us at this time. And put her on the floor of the van and, change her. It's like she's all out in the public, the doors are open. Right. Embarrassing to her because, again, she's very cognitive and she knows what's going on around her. So this just really, hurt me to my heart. So, on the way home, I just started thinking, I'm like, well, wow, why don't they have, changing tables big enough for our kids with special needs so that we can just basically pull over to a rest stop, pull over to a hospital, pull over, anywhere, and change our children. They shouldn't have to, drive or ride around in soiled diapers for a certain amount of time without being changed. You know, a lot of parents I know, they basically keep their kids at home because, you know, you can't go but so far, so, you know, too many places without your child, you know, having the need to be changed. And therefore you go out, you go places, you only stay maybe an hour or two at the latest, at the most, and then you come back home. But, you know, my main mission here for Savannah, because I see we have the movement pretty much all over, you know, it's growing, the movement.
Right, it is.
Yeah, for adult size changing tables, it's growing. So, you know, I just want to be a mom on a mission basically here in Savannah, and to get a movement here in the state of Georgia, along with some wonderful other women here in the state of Georgia, to get these adult science changing tables, different places like rest stops, airports, and places like that.
And I know that when you came home, kind of being as all of us that are like mama bears, when things happen that we're like, how can this even be? How can it be that I stopped at a hospital, you know, an urgent care, and they can't let me use a facility to change my child? Or the bigger part of it being that they don't have a changing table. That's really the, you know what I'm saying? That's really the biggest thing. I know when you came home, you had your local news station, correct? And because that's where I saw you on the news, which is great, because I think that any news stations that pick this up, I mean, you are helping this movement to go so much farther. So kudos. It's the WRBL, right?
Yes, News 3 out of Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah. So, you know, kudos to all of those that are willing to use their voice as news stations and as media platforms to open up to talk about this. I know in one of my other segments, we were talking about that across the United States on the interstates, there is over 2,200 rest stops. And if you can put into, you know, for the audience watching, into context, there is one adult changing facility out of the whole entire United States.
Exactly. And it's in Florida, like the northern part of Florida.
Right. And, you know, this isn't just for kids like, you know, Nikiah, who has, you know, CP, a medical condition. This is for our elderly loved ones as well. And, you know, our youth that are facing all different types of, you know, conditions. And so in Georgia, what are there's an organization, correct, that you're a part of, or that you kind of work with other moms. What is that about?
Yes, it's called Changing Spaces of Georgia. And I know a few of the directors, basically Keisha Smith and Libra Hicks. There are some women that, you know, once my story was aired on WRBL, they reached out to me on Facebook and let me know about Changing Spaces, because, you know, I didn't know about it, you know, until that happened to me, when I'm thinking about, okay, really, they need to have, you know, some adult size changing tables. So when I reached out on Facebook about that, and then when my news segment aired in Columbus, Georgia, Keisha Smith reached out to me and told me about Changing Spaces of Georgia, which is another huge movement. I know they have a lot of changing spaces movements throughout the United States, but here locally in Georgia, yes, I am, you know, a part of that. And this is just another movement basically to get adult size changing tables here in Georgia. And I know they've made some great strides. You know, they've gone to Atlanta, they've talked to legislators and everything. You know, they're trying to get a law passed to get more adult size changing tables, you know, on the interstates and hospitals and airports, places like that.
And that's so wonderful. So do you know, now in the research and kind of this movement as it's begun, we have Changing Spaces of Georgia. Obviously, there are other locations around, you know, the United States. So if someone is watching this, they are not from, you know, the area of Georgia, you could drop below this live or in the comments. And I know that you would be able to get us that information, right? Like, you know, at least reach out to your network to find out where they might be able to hook up with one. I do know here in the state of Wisconsin that there's one as well. Do you know some of the other states that have one?
That's what I was just trying to think of.
I think California does.
Yeah, they have a few. I don't know right offhand.
Okay.
Right offhand, but like you say, you know, at the end of this segment, you know, I can reach out and just go to Facebook, you know, and put the name in, and it'll bring up all the different organizations.
Right. Yeah. For people to get involved. And I think for others and other business owners and companies and things like that, I think personally a great movement is everywhere you walk in asking if they have one.
Yes.
And making people aware that they don't have one.
Yes.
I don't know how you guys are doing it in Georgia, but I think that awareness is key.
Exactly. And also Sabrina Kimball, which is she's the one that's in Florida. She's over Universal Changing Places. That's another big movement. And she actually has on her website, she actually has letters, sample letters that, people can use to send to different businesses and organizations throughout their community. So this is one thing here. I'm supposed to be meeting with some parents in the next few weeks, some parents here in Savannah. We're going to get together. We're going to write up some letters. We're going to take letters to like our local aquatic center because, children like Nikiah with cerebral palsy, she loves to swim and water actually helps with her muscles. So, we've taken her to the aquatic center quite a few times. And the place that they have us changing her at the aquatic center is basically on the table where the staff, like in the staff room, meeting room. So I'm changing her on the staff table with the towel. So this is a place that they actually really need an adult size changing table because we have physical therapists here that actually take their patients there for aquatic therapy on a weekly basis. So this is like my first stop that I'm gonna go to here in Savannah.
Yeah, and I know for aquatic center as a whole, it's just so mind-blowing. I know that if you watch any of the other segments, your mind would be blown too when you hear these statistics, when you hear that, you're going to a hospital that cares for everyone, and our hospitals don't even have them.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing to think. And this also, for those watching, is not a heavy investment. And none of these campaigns are asking small business owners that they need to change, modify their businesses when maybe they're a mom and pop kind of a small business. We're talking about big places, hospitals, airports, amusement parks, arenas, aquatic centers, where everyone should have the right to go. And I'm so glad you brought up aquatic centers because I don't think we've talked about that in another, segment. But you think about an aquatic center does so much physical therapy, for our elderly, for our youth. They have the lowering chairs to get you into the pool.
Yes.
If the person can't walk to get into the pool, you know what I'm saying? And they need help. They're probably going to need help with the changing. And so it's just so silly. It's mind blowing that this is even a topic. And when you're talking about the cost of those tables being between $2,000 and $7,000 for million and $billion establishments, it just seems ridiculous.
Right. Exactly.
That this is something, in addition to all of our other things that our kiddos, our youth, and our elderly have to go through, that this is even something that we have to be fighting for, that should just be a standard.
Yes. There was even a time where last year we traveled, the hurricane took us to Atlanta, and we pretty much had a hurrication, we called it. And we visited.
That's a good way to look at it.
Visited the Coca-Cola factory and something else. But basically while we were in the Coca-Cola factory, I went into one of the bathrooms and, and I just looked, they had this one just dead space, big empty space where adult size changing table could actually just fit right there in that space. It was good that Nikiah didn't need to be changed while we were there. But if she did, I wouldn't have been able to change her. I would have had to leave and, go back to the hotel and, maybe come back. But just big places like that, the Coca-Cola factory, Disney World,
Right. You think about that. It's supposed to be the happiest place in the world. Like it's just mind blowing that this is such a topic. And, for those that watch earlier in the week, my son started toiling at the age of 10. So I did have this adversity. But because that was 10 years ago, like I've realized it, but I didn't realize till I even personally started this segment, then nobody had made modifications. You know what I'm saying? Like before I had asked, but then I thought for some strange reason that modifications were made. And then to find out that there's like 80 tables in the whole entire United States. And that counts for everywhere. So we try to add it up. We don't have the exact accurate number, but it's somewhere between 60 and 80 tables. And that's counting everywhere. That's counting your airports. That's counting your interstates. That's counting your amusement parks. You know, that's counting some possible, maybe one rare urgent care that put one in. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what our exact population is in the United States, but, you know, 60 to 80 of anything across the U.S. is not acceptable. And it's not okay. And so I am so happy, Paula, that you came back from that trip, like ready to.
And when I came back from the trip, I immediately contacted the manager of the urgent care that we went to and explained my situation to her. And I also contacted the general manager of the Nikiah Inn, which was a hotel, to let them know what happened. The urgent care person, you know, she apologized and she said she would talk to the young lady at the desk that, you know, she should not have turned us away. She should have at least, you know, let us go into the back and, you know, and use one of the beds to change Nykiah on. So, you know, that made me feel better. But, you know, then again, still, you know.
Right. Well, and I think that in that instance, what I love that you did is that you came home and not only did you start talking about it to other friends and whatnot, but you called those businesses and called them out. Because honestly, within the world of different abilities, if you are not holding people to the fire all of the time, it's just ridiculous that it doesn't happen. And so, you know, when you're at Disney World, when you're at an amusement park, when you're at the airport, you know, why isn't it there? Why isn't it there? And in bringing it up. And so the more of us that can continue to make noise, go to our legislators, you know, and start that active movement, you know, hopefully in 10 years, we won't be facing, you know, this, you know, for those to come. It's the fight that starts, you know, right now. So Paula, before we go, is there anything else you would like to add? I know we're going to drop the Changing Spaces resources below. We're going to drop that below. And Universal Changing Spaces, is that the same as?
No, it's Universal Changing Places.
Changing Place, and that is different.
Yes, that's Sabrina Kimball. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I know me and her, we've been trying to find a time to chat. But so that is completely different than Changing Space. So that's another organization, right? That is out there doing
the same purpose, but different
for the same purpose, out there doing great things. If there are definitely any other resources that we can add when me and Paula get off of this, we will definitely do so. But is there anything else that you would like that I missed, Paula?
Just basically, you know, if you're out there listening and if you face a situation like I did and a lot of other moms that are out there, you can definitely go to Universal Changing Places website and look up some of the sample letters, you know, print out a sample letter, make your own letter, make it your own, and take it to your local businesses like your aquatic centers, your hospitals, your airports. And let's basically, you know, get a movement out there, make them aware. You know, like I say, the main thing is awareness. My next movement is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to contact another local news station here in Savannah. And they have like a morning show where they talk to people about different things. And hopefully Nykiah and I can get on there to talk about this movement more and just basically get the word out to here in Savannah.
That is awesome. You are doing it, Paula. And Nykiah, you are too. This is wonderful. And, you know, on that note, we will drop all of that stuff below. If you are watching and you are in a state that you know you have changing tables, if you know you've walked into a restaurant, a business, an amusement park, and you saw an adult changing table, please drop that link below, because we really want to praise all those businesses and let people know, one, where they are, you know, so families that need them, but two, that they have made this active movement for human dignity without having to be held to the fire like this and somebody to bring them a letter. They have just decided that every human does not deserve to lay on a dirty bathroom floor. I mean, that is just plain human dignity across the board. Nobody should have to do it. So I'm excited, you know, that this movement has started. I'm excited that you guys are here with us tonight. We'll drop all that stuff below. If you guys want to catch any of our other podcasts, YouTube tutorial videos, head right on over to onairadvocate.com and you can find all of that stuff there. Also, if you're looking to more interact with all of us, moms and dads and others that are on a mission, you can head on over to our On Air Advocate community, which you can find the click to that right at the top of this Facebook page. So on that note, Paula, Nikiah, you guys have a fabulous night. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having us, Tammy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.